AI is moving fast, and Adobe has been integrating AI into everything. Today we're taking a look at 10 AI features that are built into Adobe right now, and I'm going to show you the most useful ones. Some are in Photoshop, some are in Illustrator, some are in InDesign, and the last one, well, it's kind of its own tool, and I was blown away when I first tried it. Before we get into it, if you guys are looking to get Adobe, we have an affiliate link down in the description. For students, I think it's a crazy 70% off, and you'll be helping the channel out by getting it through that link. First one is Firefly Workspace, and I actually want to start here because I feel like this gives you the best idea of where Adobe's trying to go with AI. This is not really Photoshop, although you can access it through Photoshop. It's more like a separate workspace where you can generate images, test ideas, explore visual directions, and just kind of mess around before you bring them into the actual design apps. And honestly, it is really useful. It brings all of the partner models into one platform. We got Gemini, got Firefly, Flux, and even the new GPT image 2. By using it at the beginning of a project when you're still trying to figure out the style, the mood, the color, the overall direction, this is absolutely perfect. You can generate a bunch of different options, see what looks interesting, throw away what doesn't work, and then use the better ideas as a starting point. There's a bunch of different options too, from prompting markups, generative fill, remove, expand, upscale. Everything is at your fingertips. And when you're ready to move on and put your own twist into the design, all you have to do is hit open an editor at the top right and you can hit the ground running. Okay, let's start off in Photoshop. And to build off of our last point, we're talking about generative fill and generative expand. I'm going to combine these because they feel like they really belong together. Generative fill lets you select part of an image and add something, remove something, or replace something. Generative expand lets you extend the image beyond the original crop. And this is probably the most obvious Adobe AI feature because the use case is so clear. Let's say you have a vertical image, but you need a horizontal YouTube thumbnail, or you have a square image, but you need a website hero, or the photo is almost perfect, but there's a random object in the background that's distracting, or you just need more empty spaces on the side so you can put type there. This is where generative fill and expand are really useful because before you were kind of stuck with the photo that you had, and now you can make the photo fit the actual layout. So for designers, I think this is still one of the strongest AI features in Photoshop, not because it's new, but because it solves a real problem. Image never fits perfectly, and now they can. Next up is reference image, and this one is important because prompting by itself is kind of annoying. You can type this long detailed prompt and then the results come back and it's technically what you asked for, but not really what you meant. And that's because designers don't only think in words, we think in images, we think in reference, we think in mood boards, layouts, colors, lighting, composition, typography, photography styles, you get it. So reference image is useful because you can guide the AI with an actual image instead of trying to explain everything through text. If I want something to feel like a certain campaign or a certain photography style or a certain visual direction, it's much easier to show the reference than to describe every detail. You can also use references to combine different things into one single image. This is where AI starts to feel a little more controllable. I like to use this feature in the Firefly Workspace where you can go down to the bottom to add up to 6 references and tell it what you want from the reference images. Oh, and also, if you guys did not know this, usually it will tell you how many credits it will use right beside the generate button, but if it doesn't show up, it usually will when you hover over the generate button. Next is Harmonize in Photoshop. Full disclaimer, this tool is still in beta, so you would have to download Photoshop beta in order for this one to work, but definitely one of the most anticipated features that is coming out in the near future. So let's say you cut out a person or a product or some object and you put into a new background. The cutout is not always the hard part anymore. Photoshop is already pretty good at selecting subjects. The hard part is making the object feel like it actually blends in with the scene. Usually the lighting is off, the colors are off, the contrast is weird, and it just looks like you pasted one image on top of another image. Harmonize is supposed to help with that. It tries to match the object to the background so everything feels a little bit more natural. Here, I'll remove the background of this cutout of a person, select the layer, and hit Harmonize in the contextual taskbar. 5 credits later, it's given me 3 different options. It knows that the lighting is fairly soft, the direction of the shadows, and it blended the subject pretty well so that it belongs in this photo, which I think is pretty amazing. If you're working on a photography portfolio, a photo book, or a lookbook, or really any image heavy presentation, we just released a new flexible photography portfolio template on our website. The whole idea is to give you a clean, modern starting point so you don't have to build the whole thing from scratch. You can drag and drop your image in, you can copy pages, delete pages, move layouts around and pair them up with one another, change the description, and basically build the portfolio around your work instead of forcing your work into one of these super rigid templates. It's available in 3 different sizes: letter, A4, and 11 by 14. So you can use it for a digital portfolio, a printed photo book, a client presentation, or just a really clean photography lookbook. Basically, you drop in your images, adjust the text, export it, and you're good to go. And for a limited time, it's going to be half off. So if that sounds useful, I'll put a link in the description below. Okay, back to the list. Okay, next one is Turntable, and this one is wild. And whoa, outfit change. Basically, you can take a flat 2D illustration or object and generate different angles of it without redrawing it yourself. So here I had GPT generate me an image of what the channel mascot could look like. Let me know how you think it did, but I then turn it into a vector. Normally, if I wanted to see this from the side to the back or a slightly elevated angle, I would have to redraw this whole thing. And depending on what it is, that could take forever. So with the object selected in the contextual taskbar, I'm gonna go into Turntable. If you don't have this, you can also go into Object, Generative, Turntable. And look at that. Now we have this slider where we can rotate through different views of the illustration. I can bring it around towards the back. I can also tilt it up or down just a little bit and get slightly different perspectives. This feels especially useful if you're making character illustrations, podcasts, graphics, mascot, packaging asset, or even something you want to animate for social media. So instead of drawing every single version manually, you can generate a bunch of perspectives and then pick the one that works best. There's also an option to place all of the views onto the canvas. So click on this, boom, it literally places every single view onto the canvas. Holy, that is very impressive. Now you basically have a full set of different angles that you can compare and use. And apparently you can even export this as a GIF. So this option to the right here, you have a ton of options when you're exporting, like from what angle and the FPS of the GIF. So if you have some kind of illustration or product asset, you can turn it into a rotating image directly in Illustrator. That is one of those features where I didn't know how often I would personally need it, but the first time you need it, it will probably save you hours, guys. Next one is text to vector graphic in Illustrator. And this is probably one of the more interesting AI features for actual graphic designers, because the result is vector. A lot of AI tools give you a flat image, which can be useful for concepts, but if you're working in Illustrator, you usually really want something that you can edit. In Illustrator, if you don't see this contextual taskbar, all you have to do is go up to Window and make sure that it's switched on. So in order to generate a graphic, you just have to click Generate Graphic, and let's say it's graphic of red flower among red leaves. You can actually change the scene, subject, or make it in the style of an icon. So there's a lot of different things that you can actually play around with: style, effects, color, and tone. And then if you hit generate, it'll literally generate a graphic for you. So let's see what happens. There we go, graphic of a red flower among leaves. You can see it's gonna give you 3 different options, but like always, these are all ungroupable. So if I right click and ungroup all, these are all going to be elements that have a fairly intuitive path to them. But yeah, super crazy that it can even do that in the first place. Next is generative shape fill, also in Illustrator. I thought this one was really interesting because instead of generating a full image or a full graphic, you start with a shape. You draw a shape, select it, and Illustrator generates a vector line work inside that shape. And I actually like this a lot because you still have control over the composition. You decide where the shape goes, you decide the size, you decide how it fits into the layout. And then AI helps you explore what can go inside it. So this could be useful for a poster, a badge, packaging elements, a decorative graphic, magazine layout, a brand asset, whatever. I don't think there's anything else like this. And the nice thing is that you're not just asking AI to make something completely random, you're giving it structure. It's making something based on your composition. You, as the designer, still control the structure, and AI helps fill in some of the possibilities. Next one is text to pattern in Illustrator, and this one might not seem that crazy at first, but I actually think it's very useful. Patterns are actually everywhere: branding, packaging, textile, editorial layouts, backgrounds, social graphic presentation, and just whole presentation systems. They literally show up all the time. Text to pattern lets you generate repeating vector patterns from one single prompt. So you can make a pattern for a coffee brand or a fashion lookbook or magazine section, newspaper, or some kind of background texture for a brand system. And again, because it's a vector, you can still adjust it. Okay, moving on to InDesign. It's going to be subject-aware text wrap. And I feel like this one is going to possibly get overlooked because it's not as exciting as the Photoshop and Illustrator features. But for layout design, this is really, really useful. Basically, InDesign can detect main subjects in an image and wrap text around it. So instead of manually making a clipping path or drawing a custom text wrap shape, or even cutting the image out in Photoshop first, InDesign can help you detect the subject for you. And if you're working on magazines, portfolios, photo books, brochures, lookbooks, this is a game changer. Like I said, this is not the flashiest AI feature, but for InDesign users, this is definitely one of the better ones. Last but not least, I want to mention Firefly Boards. Let me know in the comments, did you guys know about this one? Because it's kind of crazy. Although this is not inside any one app, I think it's a critical part of the AI ecosystem that Adobe is trying to build out. Firefly Boards is more of a visual mood board and a concepting space. You can collect ideas, generate variations, compare directions, and just start shaping the visual world of a project. And this makes a lot of sense for especially the beginning of a project. If you're working on a brand direction, a campaign magazine, a photography concept, or a client presentation, having a board where you can explore and compare visual ideas could be really useful. So all you have to do here is go to firefly.adobe.boards and you can actually go ahead and just create a board. Now for this one, I'm going to start with one image that I want to base this off of. Let's say it's a clean photo shoot like this. I can actually go ahead and vary this. And if I go ahead and hit more like this, you can see it's gonna bring up a bunch of iterations. There's a bunch of other things that you can do, and I'm just gonna show one of them. If I go into edit, you have all of these different options where you can do this to the image that you have. But I'm just gonna test out insert. So let's say I wanna add a clock on the top left corner here. Go ahead and say add clock. Super simple. Let's see what it gives us. So these are the results. Looks pretty good. All of the shadows are correct. If we want to keep it, all we have to do is press keep and it will basically render it into this image. Now there's just a bunch of features packed into this. Not gonna go over everything today, but as you can see, this is a great visioning board. Could definitely make an entire video on this. Let me know in the comments if you would like to see that. Again, this is not about finishing the design. It's about figuring out the direction before you actually do the fine design. So those are 10 AI features built into Adobe right now that I think designers should know about. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you enjoyed this content, make sure you like, subscribe, and share with your friends. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.